What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rob St. Clair. This is the 9x9 Volleyball Show, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet, just about anywhere. I'm Rob, like I said. That's Everett DeLorme. Today is Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. And Everett, quite contrary to last week's episode, this week is just packed with volleyball matches that happened. Huge, crazy, meaningful matches that happened in all throughout Europe and the world as we get down to the fun part of the club season.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to volleyball, and it was a massive weekend with
Huge.
Coppa Italia going on, the DVV Cup and German Cup going on, of course, Makeup Superlega and Lega Volley Femminile matches. So matches all around. Plus, we had the start of the Champions League today, the quarterfinals, and we had the spiciest of starts, the craziest of starts. That
Dude.
if you had told us last week what these first two matches would have entailed, we would have called you crazy. But instead, we got two of the biggest Champions League upsets of the season right off the bat.
Every
Crazy.
time we do the show, something crazy happens like the day of that we can't help but talk about. And today it was two Champions League matches. But first, before we get to Champions League, we previewed it on last week's show. We put a little bit of pressure on Perugia, saying that if they didn't come out and take care of business and win the Italian Cup, then they would be in trouble. And sure enough, Sir Safety Perugia wins the Coppa Italia. They beat Trentino in the finals in 4. Both those teams took care of their semifinals pretty easily. It wasn't really a problem for either of them to get to that point. But the 6th time those two teams have played this year alone, Perugia now leads the season series 4-2. You see the score lines there. The first two sets were convincing before Trentino got a tight one on the board. And then, funny enough, like the last 2 points of the fourth set were both scored by Simone Gianelli on offense, which I thought was kind of cool. But you can see the stat lines there, just a couple of them. Wilfredo Leon, MVP of the Italian Cup, 23 points, led the match in scoring, 17 for 38 attacking. Not the best efficiency we've ever seen from Wilfredo, but 4 aces is pretty classic for him. A real bright spot, Kamil Rikliski, 21 points, 16 for 28 attacking, 2 blocks and 3 aces. That is a great output from your opposite, especially when you have Matt Anderson's stat line very much an L2 sort of stat line, like leading the team in passing, and very conservative everywhere else, like only 9 for 23 attacking with very few errors. So he just wasn't
best L2 in the game.
Yeah, so he's clearly not swinging to score. He's just trying to be an L2. Total.
That's
like,
kind of, to
great
be honest,
role play.
I think that's best case scenario.
I agree.
Why Anderson loves playing with Leon, because it really highlights his game. The more I think I see Matt Anderson, I don't know if he's that typical, like he can be that number one, like that alpha guy, but I think he loves playing in that second role where there's a little bit less pressure and you're expected to pass that ball a little bit more. But hey, you're right. I mean, I think one of my most impressive performances, Menegosi down there getting 11 points, going 8 for 8 and 3 blocks. Like he's still got it. I thought last year after playing with that Ravenna team that he was going to kind of just fizzle out into obsolescence, but no, he's back here with Perugia getting it done. But I mean, the reality is that there was never really a point that I thought Trentino was going to be winning this match.
No,
right, and even when they took that third set to stay alive, it was very much like, oh, we got to play one more. You know, like it didn't ever strike me like they were actually going to be competing with Perugia in this one. I mean, Leon was lights out, 23 points, just continuing to cement himself as one of the best players. Rich Licky, like you said, I mean, to me, this is kind of what I expect for Rich Licky, because he just gets so many looks and he's so consistent, swinging at 57%. And yeah, Perugia setting themselves up for the potential treble, right? I think that's what the goal is for them this year. They got the Coppa Italia, right? The Super Coppa doesn't matter. Nothing matters that happens in October, right? If it has 2021 no longer matters. So Coppa Italia is the first one, and then you've still got Champions League and the Scudetto to go. But dominant performance right now from Perugia, and there's no doubt to my mind that they're looking at the best team in Italy.
Yeah, completely agree. And as we'll talk about in just a second, they have now officially cemented the number 1 seed into the Scudetto playoffs with Lube losing to Modena. So we'll talk about that in a second. Just to go over Trentino really quickly. The thing that really jumped off to me is how badly they got outplayed in the middle. Like Sresko Lisinac and Marco Podraščanin cannot be getting outplayed by Stefano Mengozzi. Like that's not acceptable. 7 for 14, 4 errors combined for the two Serbians who should be among the best in the game. And then Daniele Lavia, not as good either, pretty inefficient. But this really was a case of Perugia being the better team from first serve until last. Gianelli just masterfully ran the show. I echo giving Mengozzi a ton of credit because with Fabio Ricci being injured earlier in the year, there's like some role player Italian middle spot that needed to be filled for Perugia by somebody. And the veteran Mengozzi has done a pretty nice job in that spot this year. I mean, Matej Kaczynski's stat line, okay, 12 for 27, 7 errors. That's not very efficient. Micheletto, 16 for 28. That's better. But yeah, they were weak in the middle. That's an area of strength that they've really got to have if they have any, Trentino this is, to have any chance of beating Perugia. And they got beat in that area. And there, I agree with you, Everett. This one was really never in doubt. Perugia has answered the question: can they come out and can they win a meaningful tournament? The answer now is yes. And now the only things that they have left to accomplish are those two, like you said, Scudetto and Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, it comes all down to Gianelli. Like if you've got Mengozzi going 8 for 8 in the middle, Sebastian Solé is 4 for 6, like just a masterful performance, and he continues to establish himself as the best setters in the league. I mean, don't you think guys on Trentino and Trentino execs are kind of watching this match like looking longingly at Gianelli? Probably. Just think about this. Think about this roster that they have right now with Gianelli, right? Like he had 3 points in this one, right? Like he got 3 kills, he got 3 aces. He 3 kills and got 3 aces. He's a leader. He puts points on the board, and he is one of the best setters at running an offense. So I think there'll be big reasons for them.
Yeah, that was my takeaway too from this Perugia performance, because you don't see Kamil Rykliski with that stat line, like 21 points and being that efficient, if it's not for Simone Gianelli putting him in the position to do that. Now, on most teams, like the way that most teams would be constructed, the roles would be flipped between Leon and Rykliski. Normally, it's your opposite, who's your go-to guy, the guy that you can expect to lean on to score in out-of-system situations.
That's why I think Rich is so good. Like he gets all the benefits of playing with a good setter.
Exactly.
Exact same thing with
the best
year,
and not being player in the world on the outside.
Yeah. But like you have to give it to him, because when he's called to, he continuously does this. He continuously delivers. Like how many matches this year have we come down to it? And it's like, oh, Rich Licky led them in scoring again. And it's just because there's so much focus put on the other guys. And when it's his time to call for ring that bell, he rings it hard.
Agreed. Yeah, he's the perfect opposite for this Perugia team for that reason, because he's never going to be called on to be the go-to guy on offense as long as Wilfredo Leon still plays for them, which, I mean, we talked about it. He's locked in for 3 more years. But whenever Rykliski does get his opportunities, it's not against the giant double, triple blocks that are expecting the ball to go to him. It's better situations. And when he's put in those situations, he delivers. He's doing his job. He doesn't have to be Maxim Mikhailov. He doesn't have to be Namir Abdelaziz. He just has to be him.
He's not, yeah.
Right, because he's not. He just has to be him. He has to fill his role with this team, and Gianelli gets a ton of the credit for putting him in the situations where he can be successful, and Rykliski gets the credit for taking advantage. I totally agree. And just because you have Wilfredo Leon, you cannot leave him alone as a set of blockers or a set of defenders against him. You just can't. Otherwise, he's going to have like 50 points and hit 90% efficiency if you start bailing your block out elsewhere. And everybody knows that. So that's why we see so often that it's somebody else on Perugia that ends up destroying you, is because they can't help but sell out and try to stop Wilfredo Leon, and they are just better, much better, Perugia is everywhere else outside of Leon than they were last year.
Yeah, no doubt. And luckily for us, this wasn't the only match in Italy this weekend.
Indeed. Actually, there was another one that I would say is better, even though this was the Italian Cup final. I think that other match was better.
I mean, I think the hype around it was bigger, but then when it came down to it, it was It was a little bit lackluster. Of course, we're talking about the Modena versus Lube showdown on Saturday. That was a makeup match. It was slated to be Wantahena's big match back, but unfortunately, we didn't see that. And it was a tough one for Lube. Marlon Yance strained his calf, I believe, or leg, or sorry, it was an ankle injury or a knee injury in the second set. Had to come out, and no Wantahena healthy, no Kovar healthy. Zaitsev to the left side, bringing Gabby Garcia. And as much tried as they might, it wasn't happening for Lube. Not only were they struggling, but Modena was in that classic Modena form where they look like the best team on earth we've seen a few times this year, and we're just rocking it.
Yep, they looked awesome. And you're right. They took advantage of a Lube team that lost Marlon Yant, and they couldn't get Osmani Wantarena to be available. And he didn't even dress. He's not even on the stat sheet. He's like, and that was the supposed to be the big return. And he dressed today in Champions League. I saw him warm up and I saw him on the sidelines. But this Lube team's got a problem here. They really, really do. If you can't have like even if Yuri Kovar can't play, if you can't have Marlon Yant healthy, you're screwed unless you have Osmani Wantarena available. Because putting Garcia in and putting Zaitsev on the left is not the recipe for success for this team. They made 15 attacking errors as a team, and that's not balls getting blocked. That's straight balls hit out of bounds and into the net. 15
22
errors
if you count the block on top
of
that.
Add on being
Massive.
blocked 7 times. 22 total attack errors in 4 sets. That's horrible. That's really bad for a team of this caliber. And even Robert Landy Simon, a typical performance from him, I mean, you just can't rely on him to carry a team out of the middle. It's just impossible.
I mean, for me, watch Simon, the only guy who cares, right? Like it just seems like Lube is kind of in this mode where they're just kind of lackadaisical.
They're old and tired, man. They are
Lucarelli just kind of floats along. Like he scored 16 in this one, and he has a few impressive moments, and at other points he just completely disappears. Right when they go down and they need points, they give the ball to Simon no matter what, and you can tell that there's a little bit of urgency in his game. Like he's serving strong. He had an ace in this one, 4 blocks. Like he's out there putting on a performance, but you need more than that. And so it's just this Lube team right now is in a very, very weird spot. And when you think about it, last year they're the defending champions, and I mean we'll talk about it later, but like it's 2 bad losses in a row for Lube with really with this one against Modena. But on the flip side, like if you look at Modena and you look at this team, it's just like, how is this team so dominant and yet has had so many like head scratching losses this season?
Yeah, and we've talked about it so much on this show in the past that I don't even want to go over it again for Modena. But what we know from this result is that they have the potential. Their ceiling is high enough to beat anybody there is in the league. I think that they're the only team that has a chance to beat Perugia in a series. I don't think Lube has a chance to do that. I don't think Trentino.
Not right now.
No.
Absolutely not.
Even in general, in a 5-match series, I don't think there's any way that Lube can beat Perugia in 3 matches. I don't think there's definitely no way Trentino can beat Perugia in 3 matches. But I think there is a universe somewhere where Modena, playing at their best, could maybe beat Perugia in a best 3 out of 5 match series. That is the only team I see right now as having a chance, unless like barring colossal injury, of course. But this Modena performance, and they're seated 4th right now. They're 4th in the standings. It is extremely likely that they'll finish in 4th, and that's a big deal because
that's a semifinal matchup right there.
Semifinal matchup.
That might be the final.
Right. So Perugia, because of this Lube loss, Perugia has 61 points. Lube, with 3 matches left to play, has 51 points. The most they could get to is 60. So officially, Perugia is going into the Italian playoffs as the number 1 seed. There's a chance they will just play the bench the next 2 Italian matches and just focus on Champions League. Well, actually, they have a bye in Champions League as well. So it's going to be a nice couple weeks, these next couple weeks for Perugia. After winning the Italian Cup. But yeah, Lube and Trentino tied right now in points, but Lube with one more match still to play. Modena behind them. They both have 51. Modena with 45. It's looking unlikely that Modena will catch either of those two.
Modena does have 3 easy matches.
Yeah,
right?
I think they have Ravenna, I think.
Yeah, they've got Ravenna, Toronto, and Padova.
Yeah,
So
I expect those to be 3 wins.
You've
But
got 3
then,
easy matches, but on the other side for Trentino, who's sitting in 3rd place, they've got Milano and Cisterna left. So it could be interesting.
it could be.
If Milano wants to pop off and go after Trentino there, maybe Trentino rests some guys at this point. But I mean, hey, finishing in 3rd right now compared to 4th, I think that's a huge difference.
Because it's a huge deal.
I think you can make it to the final potentially with how Lube is looking at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think it changes everything. If Modena catches Trentino and grabs 3rd, then you get Trentino versus Perugia in the semis, and I think Perugia sleepwalks through that matchup, and then you have the one with the real drama would then be Modena versus Lube in the semis on the other side. That would be electric, and that's kind of what I want to see personally, because I want to see those two teams battle it out for the right to challenge Perugia in the finals. Like if it's if it's Perugia versus Modena in the semis, like that would be a banger of a series for sure. But then I think whoever wins that has really the best chance of winning the finals at that point. I would rather the drama be in the finals than the semis, at least for Perugia's best chance to lose anyway. Regardless, I think the semifinals and on of the Italian playoffs are going to be unbelievable. Perugia has the 1 seed officially. Past that, there's going to be some movement around. But just to bring it back to this match that we saw on Saturday, I do want to reiterate that I think Modena is the team with the best opportunity to stop Perugia from winning this championship.
But also the biggest opportunity to fall flat on their face and embarrass themselves.
Oh yes, they have.
Right? Like it could literally go either way.
Totally.
All right.
I think of those 3 teams, they have the highest highs and also the lowest lows, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's jump over to the women's side now, shall we?
Indeed.
Because the women's side, we had, as we talked about a few episodes ago, we had some lesser matches the past few weeks, but things got spicy again last week with Novara finally taking down Canigliano in a 3-1 match. Karakurt was lights out in this one with 23 points. Dowlerup added another 19, and Agonu just not looking great. She only hit like 39%, and that was hitting percentage. And she added another 10 errors, 7 errors and 3 blocks to that one. So just not an overall good day for Agonu, and they lose, and that's kind of what the story we're seeing with Canigliano right now.
That's it, straight up. So the cool thing about I'm happy for Novara here. They've been physically and mentally destroyed by this Canigliano team in particular. To flash back to 2019, back when Agonu played for Novara, Canigliano beats Novara in the finals of Italy. I think it was 3-0 even. But then Novara gets the big one. They beat Canigliano in the finals of Champions League. That was May 2019. That offseason, Agonu moves from Novara to Canigliano, and ever since then, that head-to-head battle has only gone one way. It was completely dominated by Canigliano since Agonu's move over there for the last 3 years. And I remember last year Champions League and last year Italian playoffs, Novara didn't believe that they had a chance against Canigliano. I could tell by their body language, by the way that they played those matchups. The other teams gave Canigliano their best shot. Nobody was going to beat them last year. And everybody knew it, but Novara especially knew it. They mentally didn't believe in themselves that they had a chance to beat Canigliano last year, and that's why this win from last Thursday is such a big deal, because they finally got the emotional monkey off their backs and won that matchup head-to-head. And Abrar Karakurt was awesome. Nika Dalderup, I think, was even better. Her efficiency was tremendous, and Canigliano had a day where Agonu wasn't good, and that was just it. Like that, you just lose at that point. And this year we've seen that way more than we ever had in previous years. Part of it's the decline of Miriam Silla is a big deal. Losing Kim Hill.
That's massive for them.
Yeah, Miriam
Yeah,
Scylla has been invisible this year for them, so they've had to rely on Catherine Plummer and Megan Courtney at the outsides. You know, you're never going to get any offense out of Megan Courtney. She's in there to pass the
no.
ball. So Plummer was fine this match, but Egonu was not. 159 efficiency from the best player on the planet is not good enough, and
No.
you're just gonna lose at that point, just straight up.
Especially with how much they lean on her. Like she
Yeah,
can't, like they give her so much volume, and she just can't have an off game. And that's really
no, she
the
can't.
weakness that we're starting to see with this Caniglia team right now. And losing Kim Hill was massive, as you said, you know, so perfectly. The degradation of Miriam Silla's game has been a huge hole for this Canigliano team. And it's really starting to feel like Perugia from last year, where you've got this one player who's just holding them
I
all together.
like that
And,
comparison.
like, it's just like the Hulk who's trying to like keep everything together. And when she's not up to it, it's just too much. And you're seeing all these other teams, luckily they did turn around and hand Scandici a loss on Sunday. So they were able to turn around against one of the best teams in the league and get a good one. But still, when you're seeing them play against Monza and when you're seeing them play against a team like Novara, I think it's tough. Like both Monza and Novara are very high paced teams, right? And they
Yeah,
really go at you. And like this is also like Novara did this without Britt Herbots. Like I think that's a huge thing to talk about there, right? Like without Britt Herbots, Haley Washington wasn't all that great. Went 5 for
nah.
13 in the middle, right? But when I think Canigliano matched really well with Scandi, because Scandi, you got Stesiak against Nagano, right? It's the battle of the right sides. But when they start playing a team that has more assets and has more of a complete game, they're really starting to struggle. And as they get more and more losses, I'm really starting to question how good this team is moving forward, both in Champions League and in Italy.
Yeah, I love your comparison with Perugia from last year. I think that's spot on with Conegliano having a Gonu and last year's Perugia having Wilfredo Leon and really not much else past that. I kind of like that comparison a lot. The interesting thing about this, and you made a great point, Novara and I think Monza play similarly enough that they have a better chance to beat a Conegliano than a Scandici does. But I mean, this Novara team is constructed so well. I mean, the whole team last year was built around Britt Herbot. I think, tore an abdominal muscle playing for the national team, which is a very difficult injury to come back from, which is why we haven't seen her that much. But you have Katerina Bassetti, you have Nika Dalderop, who's as good as of a third outside hitter as there is in all women's volleyball. And then you have Bonifacio, their third middle, who's also really good and like comes in for Washington or Kirikella or whoever she needs to. And that is another like huge luxury. And then they have a backup opposite too in Rosa Maria, like if Carrickert has a bad day. So they like this team's constructed nicely. And if Micah Hancock has a good day setting the ball,
Or
Snowbar
serving,
or serving, which she wasn't even
right? Like,
that lethal serving, but we know she can just pop off at literally any time. I have a lot of respect for Novara for getting this emotional monkey off their back because they could make a lot of excuses here. You know, they can claim they got screwed in Champions League, which they definitely have an argument for. They can say, oh,
absolutely.
yeah, Britt Herbots isn't healthy. We're on this horrible streak against Caneliana. We're just going to lay down and lose and get him next time. Like, they didn't do any of that. And now my personal opinion of them is really a lot higher after doing this match.
Especially, I think it's massively important too, because right now they're slated to match up with Canigliano in the semifinals. Them as the 2 seed and Canigliano as the 3 seed, right? Because you've got Monza in first with 53 points, Novara in second with 52 points, Canigliano in third with 51 points, right? And it's pretty crazy too, because Monza is in first place with only 17 wins, while Novara and Canigliano both have 18, but they just have more points, right? They just have 2 more points because they went to 3 less, or they lost in 3 more. Like 3 of their losses have been in 3,
Right.
and
Right.
only one of the games that they've won has been in 3. So that point differential there is putting Monza on top, and we've only got a few games left in the regular season. So I really think like those first like 1 through 5, Busto's not having the same type of year that they have in the past, but I still think that's a dangerous team with Mingardi and Alexa Gray out there. So man, it's so crazy how 180 we've had this year on the women's side in Lega Volley, where
A
like last
complete
year
180.
it was Canigliano, and as you said, like Novara, who was the second best team, no doubt last year,
Yeah,
was scared of them and put up
terrified.
no resistance whatsoever. Whereas this time, like 1 through 5 is just absolutely cutthroat, and man, it's exciting to watch.
Yeah, so it's looking like Booster Arcitio versus Scandici is going to be a first round series, which is unbelievable. But that top three, that is by no means set just yet because Monza is in first by 1 point, but they've played two more matches than Novara has. And they've played one more match than Caneliano has, and Caneliano's only behind first place by 2 points. So
I think the way Navarro's playing right now, I think they have a really good chance to finish at first,
it's
which is best
possible.
case scenario for them, right? Because
Oh
then
yeah.
you've got to play the winner of a beat up Scandici or Busto Arcesio in the semifinals. You're going to be playing, whoever like Firenze or Cuneo in the first round, so you're going to walk over
Oh
them,
yeah.
and then you don't have to play either Navarra or Monza or Canigliano to the finals. Like this Navarro could sneak in here.
I think they not only could sneak in, they're my pick to do so right now, just because they have two less matches played than Monza does and one less than Conegliano, and then they beat Conegliano head to head. I'm trying to look right now if Novara and Monza play in the near future, because I don't think they've played recently. Maybe they haven't played this leg. I'm not sure. Scan really quickly. Man, Novara doesn't have anybody that good left on their schedule. They play Scandici one more time, and I think that's it. So I think they're on the inside track to the 1 seed in the league right now, and I completely agree with you. Whoever takes that 1 seed, it's even a bigger advantage than it is on the men's side because you get the winner of a beat up Scandici Busto Arcitio first round series in the semis, and then you get to let, like, hypothetically, Monza and Canigliano just destroy each other in the semifinals. Like that's a huge boost to get that top seed going into the playoffs in the women's league.
Yeah, so basically, like Navarro's playing all non-playoff teams. This Sunday they've got Valle Foglia, who's in like 7th or 8th.
They're ninth.
Then
Distantly.
they're 9th. Then the weekend after that they've got Trentino, who's in
Easy.
last. Then they've got Scandici, and then they
That's
close
the
it
one
out
tough one.
and then they close it out against Jerry Turin. So who's a playoff team, but not in that upper echelon. So Novara is really, really putting themselves in a great spot here to finish in first spot.
Going to be really, really interesting. And if you like Italian women's volleyball, do we have a banger for you tomorrow? And
let's jump into this one and preview it a little bit before we talk about
preview Champions League here. And I don't have a graphic for this, but the matchup to look forward to tomorrow in Champions League before we talk about the matches that happened today in Champions League is the first leg of Monza versus Conegliano. Oh boy, this is going to be probably the spiciest women's volleyball match or set of matches of the year, just because it's a 2-match series. It's the Champions League quarterfinals. It's all Italian. Like the other on the other, and the winner goes directly to the super finals because of the forfeit of the Russian teams on the other side of that half of the bracket. It is incredibly hype. I can't wait for this. Last time they played, Monza beat Conegliano in 4. I did that match. It was phenomenal. We talked about it here on this show. Everett, with those two teams where they are right now, and the recent addition of Jordan Larson for Monza making her debut last weekend, who's your pick in that series starting tomorrow?
I mean, I think you already know that. I think I'm going to go with Monza on this one, right? Jordan Larson, as you mentioned, came in off the bench last Saturday. She scored 7 points off the bench. They just beat this team. If anything, Canigliano has gotten shakier since a month ago when they lost to Monza. Everything since that loss has just kind of worsened. Like when they lost to Florence earlier in January, I wasn't worried. When they lost to Vakif Bank, the World Club Championships, I wasn't worried.
Right.
The loss against Monza just made them seem less invincible. But now after this loss against Novara, not only the loss, but the way that they're playing.
Yeah, eye test.
It's more so the way that they're playing and their complete reliance on the drug that is Paolo Ogonu. And let's be honest, we've seen as much as she's dominant, she also just gets bored, right? Like we've seen her yo-yo so much where she just gets bored and just doesn't want to do it anymore. And right now, it just doesn't seem like she's having much fun with that team. Like, that her and Miriam Silla are super close. You've seen her posted about it on Instagram. You see how the way they celebrate together. And I think right now, without her on the court, she doesn't connect with Megan Courtney and Catherine Plummer with the way that she does with Miriam Silla, right? Even Kim Hill, who she had that bit of a rapport with, she seemed to be more comfortable with her last year, where that's not happening now with Plummer and Courtney. And it just seems like she's locking that fire. But on the other side of the court, if you look at Monza and the team that they're starting to become with the addition of Dana Retke, like, we don't even, like, not even talking about Jordan Larson, we don't even know what this team looks like with the reigning Olympic champion, right, or MVP, sorry, right? But the team, the way they were starting to shape together with Dana Retke, they just look dangerous. And if you have that ability to either have Jordan Larson or go back to what you were working with before with Daviskiba and Janari, like, they've just got so many options. To me, it's going to take 2, or I guess 1, and maybe a golden set or 1, whatever. But it's going to take some fantastic play by Paolo Gonu, and we just haven't seen it right now. If they put the pressure on the serve, like if they go after Plummer, I don't know what's going to come of it for Canigliano.
Yeah, and Monza is an outstanding blocking team. So, like, when the brackets first came out, like even before any of the Russian teams were forced to forfeit, we saw this matchup, and you picked Monza, I picked Canigliano. I thought that Canigliano would be able to flip the switch when the time came. Since that time, that pick of mine has looked just shakier and shakier, because I totally agree with everything you just said about this Canigliano team recently. And I don't know what my pick is going to be, but I want to ask you, do you think that the knowledge, the wide public knowledge that Paula Egonu is leaving for Vakifbank after this season, do you think that has anything to do with anything?
You know what? I hadn't thought about that at all, but 100%. How can it not?
How can it not?
Right? Like the ride is ending. Like, they've been on this fairy tale ride with the 76 game win streak and winning the league and winning the Champions League and really coming together as a team. And now that's just breaking at the seams. You know that she's leaving. And it's probably even worse, to be honest, the fact that she hasn't come out and outright said it. That there's all of these rumors. Everyone knows that Canigliano has already signed Isabel Hawk for next year. And she hasn't come out. And now maybe she has behind closed door of the team, right? We did have Foley come out and talk to the media a little bit about that. But maybe it would just be better if that was kind of the acknowledgement of, like, hey, moving on next year, let's make this as special as possible. But instead, it's not. And there's just not something jiving right now with Canigliano. And to me, that has to be it. I think on top of not having Miriam Silla and, losing someone like Kim Hill. But yeah, like that, it has to be weighing on some of their minds, especially.
Yeah, it hurts. And I think we can't overstate how important it is that, and when you say they don't have Miriam Silla, they have her. She's just not the player. She's just not the player that she was last year. And I don't know why that is, but she just completely has not been able to produce at the same level. She hasn't even seen the floor for that reason. So that's a huge
just
loss.
Have like mental images of her crushing balls, and she used to come in with such pace and just get up there and crush a ball and just getting jacked after it. And Egonu coming in is just that same fire isn't there for Canigliano.
No, not even close. So yeah, I don't know. That series is going to be incredibly fun to watch in Champions League. It starts tomorrow, Wednesday, March 9th. It's the first leg of that all-Italian women's Champions League quarterfinal. So moving on to wait, what do you need?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say we might as well preview Trentino and Berlin too, because that's going to be the other quarterfinal next week. But it doesn't matter. Let's get to what happened today, because if tomorrow's anything like today, that's going to be absolutely outstanding, because it was, if you're Polish right now, you're ecstatic, because we had two of the biggest upsets we've seen. The first and foremost, a 3-2 win by Rejov over Vakifbank, the defending club world champions. 3-2 a win for them in their first ever Champions League quarterfinal match. But you know what, Rob? I think they kind of got away with murder with this one.
Look at those scorelines.
I really think they do. They did. Everything in the stat box is telling me, and everything from my eye test is telling me that Vakifbank outplayed them for the majority of this match, but they just couldn't get the job done at
Couldn't
specific
finish it.
times.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
finish it.
they couldn't finish it. It was a very uncharacteristic Vakif match, and you could tell by how emotional Guidetti was at the end of the match, and he was very animated on the sideline, that it just something wasn't working for them today. But man, to be honest, I wouldn't want to be Rejov having to go into Istanbul and play them after a match like that.
That's very well said, and that's a great point. So just look at those. Look at that scoreline: 13-25 beatdown, 29-27 they steal one, 19-25 like that's pretty convincing. 29-27 they steal another one, and then they steal one in the fifth, because when Guidetti gets like that, when you see him just berating people on the sidelines, and when the urgency really comes in, and like the what are you doing? Why can't you figure this out? Like when that's the tone that I get from him, Vakif just loses, and that's I think the only time I've ever seen them have any team weaknesses. And the last time I saw that was last year's Champions League Super Final. He just goes nuts when his team is really pushed back with their backs against the wall in the situations like that. And I just don't love that mentality. It's extremely negative and pessimistic, and it's just not how if I were a player, I wouldn't respond to that very well. So you see the stats here, and there's nothing crazy about Vakifbank's stats, because like in those two sets that they won by so much. Like Gabi's stat line, outstanding. 26 points, 23 for 40, awesome. Isabel Hawk, 60 attempts, which is just crazy high, but really good, 31 points. Ace to error ratio is the only thing that I saw that was really like a separation point for the two teams. Zhezhov, 3 aces, 7 errors. That's really good. Vakifbank, 5 aces, 15 errors. That's a little bit less good. But I agree with you, Everett. I think Zhezhov got away with one here. They've got a lot to feel good about, and they have Coach Stefan Antiga, who coached the Polish men's national team, at the helm. This club has only existed for 10 years. This
and
is
the Canadian men's national team. Let's show some respect to Stefan Antiga in our third place at World League 2017. Thank you very much. To me, I think Antiga is the reason they win this one. Like it is the classic hallmark of a well-coached team having a good match where they execute the game plan. Right?
You're
they get
reading
slaughtered
into it too much. You're reading into it too much. I don't think there's that much to it. I think they played great at home crowd behind them. They get away with a crazy fifth set. They make a couple plays, and now if I had to predict it, it'll be just like last year's Vakifbank versus Busto Arcizio series, where Busto took them in 5, like in the first leg, total upset, and then Vakifbank absolutely destroyed them in the return leg. Yeah. This time there will be fans in the stands. That's my prediction. Is a 3-0 beatdown.
The only difference between this series and that series is that in the one that they lost to Busto last year, Vakifbank didn't play great. I remember specifically Michel Bartatli was very average, had like something like 6 points, right? But in this one, I think Vakifbank was the better team, and they looked it. They just had brain farts at the most crucial of moments.
Yeah, there were a couple really weird service errors, a couple like defensive plays that they should make, and then Zhezhov got some of the goofy lucky breaks that sometimes happen in volleyball. They got a couple very good block touches that they were able to turn into points that match point, great example. It's 14-13. Everyone knows the ball goes to Isabel Hawk. Jansu Ozbey burns. Right. Ozbey burns the block, and I think it was Karabayama, American, by the way, who had a really good performance. Came out of nowhere, got like some late lucky reaching touch that Zhezhov turned into a point, and they win the match on that. It was that kind of thing to me. So I wouldn't be terrified about anything if I was a Vakifbank fan. I think they come back to Istanbul next week and just destroy Zhezhov. And again, to reiterate how Champions League works, 2-match series. It's based on the points is how you advance first. So all Vakifbank has to do is win the match in 3 or 4 sets next week, and they'll advance through. If Vakifbank wins in 5, it goes to golden set. If Zhezhov wins at all, they advance and Vakifbank's out. So that's it. And I would be shocked if Zhezhov took a set next week. Really, I would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big congratulations to them on this win. I think a program-defining win for their club.
Historic win.
Yeah.
Massive for them. And you could tell how happy they were at
totally.
At the end of it. They got to do it in front of their home fans, too. Great story. probably not going to continue. However, if we go to the other one, because on the men's side, we had arguably an even bigger upset, both by the score and because we could be in a scary situation where this one actually upholds itself, and we could see JW moving over Lube into the semifinals. Rob, your boy, Jan Hadrava, was MVP of this one, 14 points. We saw, one of the best iterations of JW we've seen all season long. We probably haven't seen this JW this good since last year's Polish Plus Liga finals, where they managed to beat Zaxa. They just looked like an elite team, and on the other side of the net, battling injuries and battling, I don't know, just apathy, is Lube Civitanova. And we talked about how they had a terrible loss against Modena, and this one was again just a bad loss.
And it was at home. It was in Italy.
At home too. Yeah. It was bad. And I almost thought, like, I was wondering, are we going to see the reverse sweep here after the first two sets? And then they came out even worse in the third.
Even worse. Crazy. So I'll address the Jan Hadrava point, because people have been making fun of me for this all day. Jan Hadrava, credit where it's due, man. 454 efficiency is outstanding against a blocking team of Lube's caliber. That is a very good performance. Now, my take on the particular way that he hit that 454 is to just blindly bang the ball into the block over and over again. And when you get on a day where you're getting a lot of really good deflections off the block and you're scoring points in that way, that's a snowball effect for sure, because blockers get more and more pissed off that they're in the right spot and they're getting used by an inferior attacker, that they just keep on getting used. So that there weren't very many like clean kills from Hadrava, although that's not really his game. His game is to try and use the block, and he had a great day doing that today. So well-deserved MVP, and he had a very good interview after the fact, especially because he played for Lube the last couple of years. So good for him. He put me to shame for at least one day. Tomasz Fornal, also very good for JW, but just look at some of those Lube numbers, man. Yikes. I don't know why Gabby Garcia got the start in this match. No idea why he did.
Well, I just think that they're like, I'm sure Zaitsev is still not 100% coming back, right? It's just not looking good. Yant was obviously not 100% in one, going 7 for 21, but Lube was just overall bad. 15 serving errors compared to JW's 9. They had a combined 17 attack errors between errors and blocks, as opposed to JW's 10. JW played well.
They were the better team.
They put pressure on Lube.
And they didn't have Yuri Glader, and they didn't have Stefan Boyer, and they still went to Italy and did this.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like, I don't even know if you're going to want to put Boyer in after the way Hadrava played. Like, he made Lube look silly on a number of occasions. And I think Tonuti just set a masterful game as well. He was making them move around. They were really just, Simone was all right in this one, 9 for 11, but still, like,
you got to give 9 for 11, 3 blocks, 2 aces. 9 for 11, 3 blocks, 2 aces is a rough blend.
He was a little bit more than all right, but let's be honest, like, this is what we just saw against Modena too, where Simone is getting up to play and he's with it, and the rest of the team around him is just not there. I mean, look at Lucarelli once again, like a pedantic 11 points in this one. Like, I don't understand. He just, like, even in passing, like 69% positive, 50% excellent, like, great numbers.
Really good.
He just kind of floats through the game. And, like, I don't really like, he seems like a P2 to me, and he should be the P1 in this case, but he just plays like a P2. That's why I think he worked so well last year against Trentino with Trentino.
They need Osmani Juantorena so bad, dude. They need him so bad. And after setback after setback after setback, with whatever his back injury is, Lube's stock is tanking incredibly hard. And now the best they can do in Champions League is force a golden set on the road in Poland. And as they learned very well last year, winning a golden set in Poland is not the easiest thing to do. This is exactly what happened to them last year. exactly the same thing. They play a good Polish team who nobody expects to be able to win that series, and they lose in a golden set. And it's not impossible, man. Lube is totally on the ropes, and I want to put at least some substance to my take a couple weeks ago that Lube was going to lose to Dinamo Moscow in the semifinals. Turns out Moscow was forced to forfeit. Now Lube just might lose to JW in the quarterfinals. This is nuts. I couldn't believe this game. Completely different JW team than the one that got stomped by Zox in the Polish Cup finals, by the way.
Yeah, completely different.
Completely
And
different.
they just seem to have this like confidence and this swagger about them. And I have no idea where it came from, especially the way that they got stomped so recently by Zaxa. You think that going up against Lube would just be like, oh shit, here we go again.
I think it's the Tony Uti effect, man. I mean, he did it last year against Lube. Maybe it's a weird little matchup thing that Lube just doesn't like. Shout outs to Jakub Popivchak as well. JW's libero. He was awesome today. Deserves a lot of credit. This is a nutty series. We were all overlooking this one completely because Lube should be on paper better at every single position. And
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of any exceptions to that, and I can't. Like they
literally
should be every
maybe
position.
you could make the argument maybe at center. Maybe at center. Right? Depending on the setting style that you like.
Yeah.
Right? Like some people might not like Jacheko's setting style. Like you might like Tony Uti's leadership. Like it's almost a toss-up for me in that one. I would still go with Jacheco myself, but I think you could make that argument, but you're not wrong. It's a big wow. But what's scary to me is how badly Lube is playing. Like this could be it for Lube. Like I think making the comparison, I think this is way worse than last year. Losing to Zaxa last year, Zaxa was, a top team that we just didn't even realize it yet. And I mean, at the time they were undefeated, both in Champions League and domestically. Like that was a much different Zaxa team in a lot. And this JW team just doesn't have the resume to match that. Here they are going toe to toe. It's really starting to show the cracks in Lube, and now we're starting to wonder, like, is Langini going to get the chop like we had last year with Lube?
Oh boy, would that be funny? Yeah, and the real winner in all of this is Zaxa Kedrich and Kozley for sure, because they play the winner of this series. If they get JW by some miracle, they've got to be licking their chops because they know how to destroy that team. And if they get Lube after, if they come back and force a golden set and win it, then JW will have written the blueprint on how to expose that team. And
they
Zaxa saw them in pools.
They literally just beat them, right?
Right. So they saw them in pools like 2 weeks ago.
I think, like, now I want to go back and change my call because I think Zaxa is going to make the finals.
How things changed, my friends. So Champions League, incredibly spicy. These two matches today, man, I just love when we do this show. Something ridiculous happens the day of, like every week, I swear to God. And sure enough, we get two crazy upsets that totally change the fabric of all Champions League. And fortunately, we're not done yet. So we have Monza versus Conegliano, the all-Italian women's matchup that starts tomorrow. Then you have Trentino versus Berlin on Thursday. That is at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. I will be on the call for both Trentino versus Berlin matches, both this week and next week. And we'll go live for the European Volleyball show before the match on Thursday just to talk about all Champions League. So if you want to see my reaction to Monza versus Conegliano and before Trentino versus Berlin, a more detailed preview, check that out on the CEV YouTube channel. But the Champions League playoffs are here. They are spicy as always, and I'm stoked about them.
Yeah, wrong. VBall to 2117 in the chat saying Tony UT is Lube's kryptonite. Do you agree? Yes or no?
Numbers don't lie, man.
Tony UT is to Lube as what Ingapeth is to Perugia.
Those French dudes.
Those shifty French guys, right?
Those shifty French dudes. And JW's got two of them. Well, sometimes they have three of them.
Right now, right?
Let me reactivate and see what happens.
Because we're still streaming right now, technically.
If you see a feed come in, let me know. I just restarted it. You got it?
It just came in. Yeah. Okay. We're all right.
Thank goodness.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. That was a little bit scary. Well, I'll have to go back and watch to see where we cut out there. Hopefully we didn't lose anything too much. Hopefully it seems like we lost a few of you, but we're back.
Huh, that was
Um,
weird. Yeah, okay, sure enough. It works. Okay, great. All right, we still have a show. Yeah, I thought the stream died for a hot second
yeah.
there.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, before the stream dies again, moving on. The Coppa Italia was the only cup going on this weekend as Friedrichshafen wins the German Cup 3-1 over Lüneburg. Friedrichshafen made it to the finals by upsetting Berlin 3-2 in the semifinals. And you know what? A bright spot in a very bleak season for Friedrichshafen.
It's kind of a weak spot in all of Germany this entire German season, to be honest. Like looking through these, I didn't get to watch this match, and I wish I had. So I'm not talking about this match from a place of really having experienced it. I just looked at the stat sheet, and just the numbers to me are indicative of two teams that just aren't super duper good, but were definitely evenly matched. And in that case, I assume this match was probably really fun to watch. I wish I'd watched it, but sure enough, Friedrichshafen beats Lüneburg in four. They win a German Cup. Now, this is one of the most storied franchises in all European volleyball that's having, like Everett said, an extremely bad year by their standards. I kind of feel bad for Lüneburg because they have a bunch of Americans on there, and they had a great opportunity to win one of
A
these
couple
things.
Canadians too.
Indeed, especially after like Friedrichshafen gifts them a matchup in the finals that isn't against Berlin, and Lüneburg is unable to take advantage. So that is a bummer. But Simon Hirsch was the stat line that I thought was really good. 12 for 20 attacking, above 50% efficiency. I don't know who the MVP of this
It was Jordan
tournament
Ewart.
was.
Jordan Ewart of
On the losing team,
yeah,
really?
on the losing team. Yeah, Jordan Ewart
Interesting.
was the MVP, 19 points. I thought it was very interesting. I'm going to be very interested to watch the out of system vlog that's going to come out after this one, because of course you
Yes.
have Joe Worsley, who sets for Lüneburg. It seemed like, given the content that was being pumped out of system, that they were a little unhappy with some of the calls or non-calls made against them. And it seemed like the boys of Lüneburg were very were pretty upset about this one. There was some clips of, or some Instagram posts of Joe eating McDonald's at like 3 a.m.
I did see that.
looking pretty bummed. Because yeah, you know what, I thought like last year it's been, oh, I just closed it, but I mean, as dominant as Berlin has been in the league, Friedrichshafen has been pretty dominant in the cup, right? Like the won 3 in a row from 17 to 19, and like they go on runs, right? But last year was the first time in like over a decade that a team other than Berlin and Friedrichshafen having to win when Frankfurt won it. So I almost thought we were going to get that again for a second year in a row watching this one, especially because Lüneburg was down 2-1 in the fourth, and they were really starting to gain steam, and they were really looking like they're going to push to a fifth. But at the end, Friedrichshafen was able to pull it through. So good game overall from them, but you can tell that Lüneburg was pretty gutted.
Yeah, I mean those last two set scores are so close. Like both two sets definitely could have gone either way. Shout outs to Avery Aylesworth of Friedrichshafen, who's been filling in for Blair Ban. So we got an American and a Canadian now with some hardware from this. So good for those guys. But I don't have honestly that much more to say about this really, because I think we would agree that if Berlin had been in this match, that's probably who's walking away with some trophies.
I mean, hey, I would have expected them to take down Friedrichshafen in the semis, and that didn't happen either, right? So
True.
it's tough for me to see Lüneburg lost. As you mentioned, there's Joe Worsley, Dalton Solbrig, Jordan Ewart, the Americans, and you've got Pearson Ushenko and Tyler Kozlowski in the middle, and the libero as the Canadians. You know, 5 of the 7 guys on the court are from North America. So
The team's fun to watch too.
yeah, nice high energy team. It's good. I know we don't have a graphic for this one, but also Sada Cruzeiro won the Brazilian. Was it the Brazilian Cup this weekend, or was it the South American Cup?
I
Because
think it was.
Lopez was MVP again.
Yeah, I think it was like South American Club Championships or something like that.
Yes.
So that means they get the South American berth for Club World Championships next year, which they get literally every year. So that's not really news. Yeah, I didn't watch any of that, but Miguel Lopez with some more hardware. Good for him.
Yeah. Do you think is he the most elite player playing outside of Italy right now?
Playing outside of Europe, I would say that. Outside of Italy, I would not. There's too many great
Yeah.
players, and there's too many
Okay,
great
in
players in
Russia.
Russia and Poland. There are some great players
If
in
he was
Poland.
in, but if he was in Poland, he'd be the best player in Poland by far.
Maybe,
Okay,
maybe.
I guess there's still Semeniuk and
Yeah,
Slivka.
Semeniuk, Slivka, Biniak, like there are some great players in Poland. Like I would have to see how his style would fit in, but he's definitely the best player playing outside of Europe right now, in my opinion.
I think Lopez would absolutely crush the Bundesliga. Right? Like
It
it's
would be fun to see that he would be
I
a
think the
total one
Bundesliga,
of one in Poland. There would be nobody else in that league that plays like him.
man. Imagine if, because Rosovia picked up DeFalco, imagine if you had a DeFalco Lopez pairing.
That would be sick. We should see if we can get Ronnie to help us like speak that into existence or something.
Yeah, because now Ronnie is just every Cuban's agent. We've just decided Ronnie has now had power to just figure this stuff out.
I thought that's pretty much what he was. Anyway, so before we wrap up the show, I want to talk about VLA because VLA was...
we forgot one thing again.
Nope, don't worry, we're gonna get that at the end. I have that as the last thing in the show, but first, boy, did we have ourselves a tournament in the VLA this weekend. While many of you are watching Italian Cup or Polish Cup or whatever, I was in a gym here in Chicago, which was awesome. It was by far the best event the Volleyball League of America has ever thrown. It was sick. The upsets were just everywhere. The only two teams playing from Tier 1 both lost in the quarterfinals. Icemen played a just terrible lineup management. Awful. They had a horrible roster choice playing against Swede. Their crosstown rivals from Chicago got swept in the quarters. And then Team Pineapple getting swept by the Milwaukee Dive, who like made their debut this tournament. River City Flow reverse swept Icemen on day 1. And then Ruckus reverse sweeps Swede in the finals and wins 20-18 in the 5th. So that was absolutely electric. Like the matches were crazy. We were able to live stream every single game from all 4 courts, which was amazing. Ton of 5-setters, ton of reverse sweeps. It was great ball. I was very stoked about it. It was very fun to be there. So catch all the replays on the VLA YouTube channel. And I'm also kind of excited to be off from VLA travel for like a month. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that must be nice. It's been a bunch in a row.
It's been a grind. It's been a grind for me for sure and for the league. But this tournament was amazing, amazingly good. Totally set a new bar for us for events.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing that I've asked this question before, but the Tier 2 teams just seem to dominate? Like, is that something that's going to cause you guys to kind of like look at things moving forward?
No,
like,
it's awesome. It's awesome because the only reason that the Tier 1 teams, like the 8 Tier 1 teams, are in Tier 1 right now is not necessarily because they're the best, but because their organizations are the most put together and they're able to commit the most to the league and schedule and travel and all that stuff. It really has nothing to do with how good they are on the court. It's just because they were the founding 5 franchises and the 3 others that have gotten promoted since are there because their organizations are, we have thought to be the most best structured to play a Tier 1 sort of schedule. So the Tier 2 teams are phenomenally good for us because it shows how deep the talent of the league is, and the drama is so sick for like the races of who's going to get promoted, because now like Swede and Milwaukee are on the fast track to get promoted out of the Central Division in Tier 2, and that race is going to be crazy tight. And like it just proves that this tournament that you can't sleepwalk through any team anywhere in any tournament. Like Icemen thought they could. They thought that they could beat a Swede team they've beaten a million times by playing their B lineup in the quarterfinals. They played like trash and they lost. And that's what you get. And it was awesome. I love it. It's super good for the league for Tier 2 to be so good because it proves that it's not just like 8 good teams and then a bunch of filler teams. It's like 15 or so legitimately awesome teams. And those teams will race to get promoted as their organizations, figure themselves out and are able to commit to more. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. We absolutely love it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to see. Ruckus just they're starting to be the Canigliano era, like
they are
old Canigliano of the VLA. Just
and I kind of
through everywhere.
I kind of love that too, because now there is a team that has the biggest target on their backs of all time. And this match this past weekend on Sunday was by far the best opportunity so far, and since Ruckus has been playing VLA, the best opportunity for someone to beat him. Swede had him up 2-0. They had like 5 match points to win the championship in the 5th, and they couldn't quite get it done. Ruckus was just too clutch. So they have a huge target on their backs. This is a big opportunity for someone to knock them off the top of the mountain, and they couldn't do it. So the drama is shaping up big for the tournament in Indiana with like 20 teams at it. But we've got another one in Buffalo with some Canadian participants in like a month, and Ruckus will not be there. So it's a wide open tournament that anybody could win. So that'll be cool.
That's good. We're going to actually see someone else win.
Indeed.
For once.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, big shout out to Indocan for sending a team. The other Canadian team.
The other Canadian team will not be making the trip anymore. It will just be Indocan, which my understanding. Yes, that is official. So that's good news.
Okay, I'm glad we caught that. I wouldn't want to see essentially a rec team, let's say, had to go play. That might cause some, we might have an international situation on our hands.
We would force, Trudeau would have to lock the borders back down because there would be too much garbage can kicking going on.
Yeah, that would have been bad. So, all right.
So I believe we have one more thing left to go over, Everett, and this is breaking news and more like a meta sort of piece of news. But I want to go over this again. Everett, please let us know about our sponsor of the Volleyball Source Network.
Woo! You guys like watching volleyball and watching sports. Maybe you'll like betting on volleyball and betting on sports. So we partnered with BetUS to give you the best sports betting experience. They are the longest running sports book in North America. They've been around since 1994. They are the OGs, and they're affectionately known as America's favorite sports book. Of course, you don't just have to be in America to gain this opportunity. So when you sign up using our link and use the code VOLLEY125, you get 125%. You more than double what you put in with the deposit of at least $100. So the link to this one is down below. You can go check it and click it, bit.ly/volleyball source. And then once you go make your first deposit, just put in the code VOLLEY125 and you will get 125% of a deposit bonus when you sign up for BetUS, and at first I thought that they didn't have volleyball, but today they had all the matches. So if you want, you can go, which is amazing. You can go, you can bet on volleyball, you can bet on soccer, on football, on NASCAR, if you will. Hell, they can even, they do the Oscars and like presidential races. Like they do it all. They're the OGs. You
Awesome.
can play casino games. So yeah, go in, deposit $100. You deposit $100, you're going to turn out with $225. Like,
it's a no-brainer.
That's pretty awesome.
It's
Use the code VOLLEY125 and get free money.
Yeah, so make sure you use that code because that's what kicks it back to us at Volleyball Sources. That is when you use that code, that's what helps us out tremendously. But this is so cool. This is so amazing. We already have a betting channel in the Discord, but I expect it to absolutely pop off as more of us start to join BetUS and start to use this code. So speaking of the Discord, links in the description. I think we're at like 299 members. We're so close to 300. So if you're watching this and you're somehow not in there yet,
I think
296.
296.
So close to 300. So maybe we'll give you something special if you're a 300th member. So,
294. Sorry.
There you go. Join the Discord. Links in the description. Especially as championship season starts to come up, it's by far the best place on the entire internet to get everything that there is to get about the volley that's going on and talk to people live about people who are watching. And it's a no-brainer. You got to join.
I won't lie. I was a little lost today when Discord went down for a little bit.
Dude, yeah, Discord was down for like 2 hours.
It was right when, it was the end of that Rezhov versus Vakuf match.
Yeah, that sucked.
It was right at the beginning of the Lube and against JW match. And the first thing that happened when I signed on was I saw Hadrava get a big kill. And I'm trying to get onto the Discord and tell people and be like, ha, 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 Hadrava's doing well. And I couldn't. And there was a hole. There was a hole inside of me.
Yeah.
We better hope that Discord never, falls, or else to go out and make our own.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do at that point. Yeah, it was a fun day today. I wish the Discord had been popping for that Zhezhov versus Vakapeng upset, but had a little outage there. So yeah, join that. It will enhance your volleyball watching experience, I promise. And if you want to enhance your volleyball watching experience by literally having money on the games, go to BetUS and use the code Volley125.
All right, do it, guys. I think that's it for us. There's nothing in the chat. Oh, shoot. Oh, we forgot a big thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, we forgot a big thing.
What do we forget? There's some international news. I forgot about this.
Yeah, that whole international thing that we maybe should have like led the show with.
Nah, it wasn't like that crazy big news, and such that I hope that like by next week the other piece of the news will have come in. So maybe we can save it. Maybe we can save the people. We can tease them a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think it happened. Like it was announced yesterday. I think we got to address it. Like,
all right. Yeah, no, fair enough. So we were talking on last week's show about who we thought was going to replace the Russian men's and women's national teams participating in VNL. And I'm not talking about hosting, because Russia was supposed to host a weekend of each of those tournaments. I'm talking about what team was going to play. And we thought on the men's side that the choices would either be Cuba, because they're the highest ranked, or Turkey, because they're the highest ranked European team. Turns out it is neither of those two. The FIVB has chosen Tunisia. The only African team will now be playing in VNL. Interesting. I mean, they were the thanks for participating team of the Olympic Games in that one pool. They went winless. I don't love this. I really like Wasim Bentara. I think he's awesome. I like spotlighting African volleyball, but they're just not good. They're just not good, Everett. Turkey would have been such a better pick. They would have actually been able to make some noise. If Cuba had their federation could afford it, they would have been able to make some noise. Tunisia will go over in this tournament, unless they play like China, or like they get Japan on a bad day, or like teams play their bench against them. Like, this is a useless addition. It really is.
It adds nothing to the tournament.
Nothing.
It's very much a thank you for participating kind of vibe. As you said, it was really too bad that they couldn't go for Cuba. It's really too bad that they didn't go for Turkey, because as we talked about last week, I think Turkey could have hosted well, and would have
a shame
solved that. Bentara is going to get an opportunity to play VNL, but let's be honest, it might even be like what's probably going to happen is it's going to be the Britt Herbots effect, where you're going to go to VNL as the only athlete that your team has. You're going to go all out. You're going to take a million swings, and you're not going to be ready for the next season, because you have to play. God forbid, you have to play 5 games in a week, which is it's not 5 games.
I think it's 4. I think it's 4 in 6 days. And 4 and 6 days is outrageous.
Days over the course, plus all of that travel. Like, we obviously hate our athletes in volleyball, and that's why we do it to this to them year in and year out for no financial compensation,
and no off season. Yeah, great.
No off season. So yeah, we're just destroying our stars, and that's exactly probably what's going to happen to Bentara, because that Tunisia doesn't have anyone else around him. Maybe I'm wrong. But
what do you get again, Everett, if you peel back the trench coat of the FIVB? What's hiding?
Oh, it's just 3 boomers in a trench coat, and you know exactly what happened. Well, let's just look at the world rankings here. Was Tunisia part of the last Challenger Cup? No. Okay. Well, they're still there. Cuba. Can you guys afford it? No. Okay. Well, let's go Tunisia. You can afford it. Great. Is it going to make the tournament better? Hell no. Is it going to make things worse? Probably. But hey, we got a team. We got a team. That's all.
Oh man. Well, I'm curious to see who replaces Russia on the women's side. They haven't announced that yet. I think that the FIVB hasn't said any of this, which is why I wasn't sure I wanted to talk about it on this week's show. It was reported elsewhere, and I think the Tunisian Volleyball Federation did say it, but the FIVB didn't say it. They did say that
really?
They haven't posted anything about it. They also haven't posted about the fact that we think that the team to replace Russia in the field at Men's World Championships, we think that is Belgium, but we don't know that either. Like that hasn't been like officially stated by anybody. So that was just what I heard. And what we also know is that we don't know yet who's going to step in and host Men's World Championships. There's an accelerating bid process that they've opened up, and it's not at all unlikely for it to be multiple countries, probably in Europe, that step in to host that. We don't know. Maybe that by this time next week or next week's show, we'll have more news on that. But that's kind of what we've got for now, is that we know that Tunisia is replacing Russia in VNL, and that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it is kind of a bummer. You're right. It hasn't been like officially announced.
No,
This
nobody
is the
said
one
anything.
time.
Come on.
This is the one time that the not the one time maybe, but where I just took the Discord at its word. You know, I didn't do any backup research on that one. I was just like, oh, it's in the Discord. They're talking about it. It's got to be real.
Yeah, World of Volley posted about it. Like they wrote an article about it. It was very brief, and they said
Mm.
that the Tunisian Federation announced it. So that was good enough for me. But I don't know. Maybe the boomers in the trench coat will reverse course. Who knows?
I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind if they did.
Yeah, for real.
Let's be perfectly honest here. I would not
Sorry,
be
Tunisia.
mad if they did. Like, hey, yeah,
So yeah, I think that's the show, boys and girls. Apologies for the hiccup in the middle. I have literally no idea what happened there. I'm happy that we could save the stream. So enjoy Champions League this week. We got Monza versus Conegliano tomorrow, which is Wednesday. We got Berlin versus Trentino Thursday. We got packed weekend at Italy as the men come down to looking like who's going to get relegated. We got Padova versus Vibo Valencia head-to-head on Sunday, which might be a head-to-head match to decide who gets relegated. So join the Discord. Join BetUS with the code Volley125 if you're into that sort of thing. And I think we'll see you next Tuesday, boys and girls.
All right. See you guys. Have a great week.
Peace.
Peace.